Okay, YouTubers, this is part 2 of me repairing my old 12-gallon 5.5 horse Shop Vac that I got from my neighbor who moved across the country and didn't want it anymore. He'd had it quite a while, I'm guessing 10 years or so, or maybe more. And I determined at the end of part 1, which I'll leave a link here, that most likely the brushes were bad. Well, I had my brother-in-law look at this, and he's a mechanical engineer and was able to adjust the brushes and clean them, clean the comminutor, and got the gap removed. Maybe hard to see here, but the brushes now are pretty tight, and it has been working. Now it's because of these brush conditions, it wants to stop and start, so I may still yet replace the brushes, but as I suspected in the part 1 of the video, it's the brushes. So now I'm going to try to turn this on so you can see it. It sparks pretty badly because of the still slight gap and wear on the brushes. I've got to decide whether it'll run good enough for me to use it just as a dust vac or whether I need to get new brushes. And there you see it's working. We had to put a little gravity on it by turning it upside down, but you don't want to do that. As you can see, there's quite a bit of sparking, but it is working, so that was exciting. So it is working. So now I'm going to try to put it back together and see if it'll work good enough for my purposes. If not, then I'll think about checking into new brushes. Okay, here's a close-up of the brush, and you can pull back on the end of the brush and see how it moves away from the commutator. And the brush, it goes in on this end, slides down in there to that squared out area. And this is a spring which you can also get with the replacement brush, and the wire from the brush here then is crimped on to this piece right here. So I thought you would have to cut these off, but my brother-in-law showed me that no, they can be uncrimped here and taken off, and then the new ones put on. So the brushes are tight now. They're worn, so debatable how long they'll last. And the sparking, the more they spark, the looser they are, and more worn they are. So that's a little more detail on the brushes. Okay, after putting this cord in here, and this is lined up on these vents pretty much. And we need this thick washer to go on. It's also acting as a spacer. Then you need to put this housing on, and the gasketed side, which goes in the wide. This is offset to this side. This is offset to this side, and the gasket's on the side that's got a wider opening. Two screws go in, and they're very wide thread, meant to go plastic probably, and take the Phillips screwdriver. So we set this down. You can look through the holes and actually line up two. Just using a Phillips screwdriver. So we have the housing on. Okay, now we're ready to put the fan blades on, and they have a washer on the top that has indents, and so we have a piece that goes on that matches up with them on the bottom. So we put that on next, and then make sure you line these up. And I think you can tell if it's lined up by when it rotates. You don't feel it separating on the bottom. Okay, so next we put on this 1/2 inch nut, and I had to oil it. If you recall, this was difficult getting off. I had to hold on to the fan blade and turn it, and I bent the fan. I think I got it pretty straight. So it needs to go on fairly tight, I guess. Okay, so I forgot to put in these 3 screws that hold the housing onto the motor better, and there's one here, and one here. They have a star head on them, so makes it a little complicated, but I have a star head fitting. Okay, this goes on next, and there are slots on the side, 3 of them, and they line up with these pegs, or we're going to call them on, obviously. So that's on like that. Just presses on. No screws holding it on. And the check valve ball sits in there. Okay, so next the filter housing goes on. And you have a series of holes here, 3, 4. And they have to be lined up just right. So that helps you figure out the orientation. Okay, so I got the hole lined up so it'll only go one way. And 4 screws. Okay, I'll put the filter on now. Just presses on. The top. So now we're ready to put the top on. And this is where our gasket goes, I believe. And don't forget your switch. And I'm not sure which one's off, which one's on. This is easy to take off, put back on if you've got it backwards. This is held on by these 2 large Phillips head screws. Okay, so we're ready to put it in. Let's plug it in, see if it works. Okay, you can smell the burning of the brushes, and it stopped on us. So I think we're going to have to replace the brushes. But that's why you put it back together, YouTubers. I'll try to get new brushes if I think it's worth it and show you how to install those. But otherwise, this is the second part of this video. It shows you how to put the unit back together. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to Harrison 4803. It's Old John signing out.